Okay, an insert here to explain to you how you don't have to have the initialization parameter straight away when you initialize the app. Fairly common that you would fetch those parameters from a public endpoint, for example, or that you have some React tooling that only make those parameters available in the React world. So something that some people have issue with is that with other provider, you provide the parameter as props to the provider here. But in oidc-spa, you are providing them here in the declaration file. So first, why is it like this? Because this way we can infer from the way you configure your API, the type of the API that is returned to you. And the other reason why I don't enable the props to be passed as the provider is because it would make no sense. The props are supposed to be dynamic things that can evolve, be updated dynamically, but this is not the case here. What would it mean to update the issuer URI or client ID mid-application run? This doesn't work like that. So, but let me show you how you can work around this. So let's assume that here you have a function app, okay? Okay, and let's assume that you only have the issuer URI and client ID here, okay, and you would like to pass it to the provider, but you can't. So let's assume that you have this here. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Let's try to make it work this way. So I've changed the library target to use the ES 2024 to have the promise with resolver API, but you can use your own construct if you don't want to use the latest feature. So we can create a deferred, so let's create a type for what we're going to provide in real time. So type oidc init params, okay, and we're going to provide issuer URI and client ID, okay? And here we're going to do promised with resolver of oidc param, okay? And we have promise and resolve, okay? Here, what we're going to do is we're going to transform this into an async function. So it doesn't have to be an object. It can be an async function that returns the object. So we're going to move that here. Okay. And here, what we're going to do is await for the promise to resolve, and we're going to get the issuer URI and client ID. So issuer URI and client ID here. Okay. And we just need to export this this resolve. So we can do export const set oidc init params resolve. Okay, and here we can just do we import set oidc init params. We do the usual use effect here. Okay, and we just do a use effect that's run only once, and we can call set oidc init param issuer URI client ID. Okay, so this way, this is an example of how to exit the React world or to connect the non-React and the React world. Okay, so this is very powerful. If you can't do that, you tend to cram everything into a component body and make things much more complicated than they need to be. But here, we delay. So this function will be called only when this is mounted or when get oidc is called. And it will finally resolve only when this is set. So you can try. Okay. And you can see it work perfectly fine with this pattern.